So, today we're going to be looking at drawing cute animals. We'll be focusing on furry type creatures, dogs, cats, bears, bunnies, that sort of thing. They all have certain things in common, and there are certain rules that you can follow to make sure that they come out cute. I'm going to be keeping it very simple. Anybody should be able to pretty much draw any of these. If you can draw an oval, triangle, and some squiggly lines, that's pretty much all you need. So hope you'll join in and have some fun with me today. Before we get to drawing complete creatures, we're going to look for a moment at the different features. We'll start out with eyes. What I've got here is my scribbled out list of eye rules. If you want to make cute eyes, these are the rules. So let's go through the rules here one by one. When you're drawing eyes and you want them to be cute, you want to give them very large pupils. The pupils should fill the majority of the eye, in fact, never tiny little pupils. I will demonstrate this in a moment. The pupils should always touch the sides of the eye. You don't want them in the middle floating around. They have to touch at least one side. You can cut off the pupils a little bit. That is, they can be cut off by the edge of the eye, but not too much. You should try to keep most of the pupil inside the eye. When you draw the eyes, you should not draw them too close together. Too wide is also bad, but wide is better than narrow. And the location of the eyes needs to be very low on the head, and I'll explain and demonstrate all of these rules as we go through. Okay, so now let me actually demonstrate some of these things. I'll get rid of the list and grab a brush here, a little pencil brush, and then we'll draw some eyes, and I'll demonstrate the differences between drawing them cute and just drawing normal eyes. Now, everything I do today is going to be very cartoon-like. We're not talking about realistic drawings here. We're talking about cartoon drawings where you can exaggerate things to increase the effect of them. And we're going to look at the things that you focus on when you're trying to make them cute. Okay, so the brush I'm going to use here is the pencil brush, which is available for download there. You can get your own pencil brush. It's by Black Pawn. Yay, Black Pawn! And I'm using it about a size 5. It just makes for a fairly easy sketching sort of brush. So that's what I'm going to use. Alright, so let's draw some eyes. The eyes we're going to draw now will be simple oval type of eyes. We won't get too fancy here. And I'll show you the difference, to follow the rules for cute eyes. We'll keep them fairly rough here, but here's a couple of ovals. We're going to make these eyes. Now when I do the pupils in these eyes, I don't want to make them small. I don't want to make them small and floating around in the center, so not like this. When you draw the pupils for cute eyes, they have to be big, and they have to touch the side of the eye. So if you're going to make them looking to one side or the other, that's easy. If you want them looking straight forward, they have to both touch the inner side of the eye. So something more like this. Also notice that the eyes are not too close together. There's more than the size of another eye in between them. And then the other rule was to put them low on the head. We haven't got to actually doing a head yet, so I'll show you that in a minute when we get to doing the head part. But this is the basic cute eye. You can have them looking to the side and what have you as well. Yeah, I know it's hard to determine whether these are cute when they're just floating in space, but you'll see when I put them on the head that they become cute because of the way they are. So that's the eye. Okay, any question on what I've said so far about eyes? You would think it would make them look cross-eyed, but when you see them on the face, they actually won't look cross-eyed. So we'll have to wait till we get to that part. If you cut them off too much, then they will look cross-eyed. But if you don't cut them off, they'll look fine. Okay, so there's the rules for eyes. You can write those down. And now we'll move on to the next part, the mouth. We're just going to do a very simple sort of mouth here. All of our creatures, whether it's a bunny or a bear or a dog, they all have basically the same features. What turns them into one creature or the other is actually not the features, it's the rest of the head and the shape of the ears. So we're going to do the same kind of eyes, the same kind of mouth and nose on all of these guys, and you'll see how you can change it into a different type of creature with the rest of the head. Alright, so the mouth on all of these fellers is, there's basically three rules. It has to be small. You can't put a great big mouth and make it cute, usually. Now, any of these rules can be broken, but this is the basic rules for cuteness. They have to be between the eyes, not to one side or the other. You can get a smirk or something out of them if they put them on the side, but we're not going to try for that. So you put them in the center and make it small. So let me show you what I mean. So that's basically the mouth for these guys. You can make an open mouth by adding a little round part at the bottom, which I'll show you here. I'm just using a circle here for the nose, and then a couple of curved lines for the mouth. You can put the little line at the top edge of the mouth if you want, but you don't have to do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But the main thing to note is that the mouth, when compared to the eyes, is very small. It does not extend outside the edges of the eyes. It's small and in between the eyes. Alright, any questions on the basic mouth rules? Mouth rules! Yes. BP rules. Alright, well, let's move on to the nose. There isn't much to say about the nose. I often just use a little oval for the nose. You can also use a triangle shape. The important thing is to make it not too big and have it centered between the eyes. So let me show you noses. Two possible noses. There, that's basically the two noses that I use, either an oval or a triangle. I tend to use the triangle more on cats, but it doesn't matter. You can use the triangle on a bear or a dog or a bunny. That's all fine. Very simple. Any more questions on noses? The nose knows. Alright, so this is the last list of rules, and then we'll get to actually drawing some creatures. These are just like, I don't know, auxiliary rules. Rules that affect the entire creature. So let's go through them one at a time. These are all important though, and following these will make a big difference in whether the end result is cute looking or not. Okay, the first rule is actually probably the most important. The head should be big when compared to the body. And if you make it wider on one end or the other, it should be wider on the top. A lot of times I just use a circle or oval for the head anyway, but sometimes I will use sort of a rounded squarish kind of thing, but it always has to be wider on top than the bottom, although you can still put cheeks on it. But that's the main rule. Big head, small body. Other things that are cute are making it round. So when you draw the body, making it round is good. It shouldn't be square. Fat is always more cute. Things that are floppy tend to be cuter. And if you draw any kind of arms or legs on it, they should be very small, and there should be no joints. They should just be straight. And I will demonstrate all of this as we get into drawing a whole creature. So those are the basic rules. Okay, so let's get to actually drawing some of these guys and demonstrating how all this stuff fits together. Any questions on the rules so far? Alright, so we'll start out. We're going to draw a kitten, and I'm going to keep everything about this kitten as simple as possible, but we will follow all the rules and see how cute he turns out. Alright? Then later in the class, I will show you how to turn our, these are going to be fairly rough drawings, into a more finished looking sketch. So let's just start by getting a circle on the screen for his head. Alright, so that's going to be the head. It's more or less a circle. It's a little bit oval. Now when you start to put the eyes and the nose and the mouth on here, it's very important to put them low on the head. And by low on the head, I mean really low on the head. So let's look at about where halfway down this head is. So I've drawn a line across the head that's about halfway from the top to the bottom. And we want to put all of the features below this line. In fact, a lot below this line. They should not even touch this line. So when I put the eyes in, I'm going to put them down in this bottom half. Alright, so I've put in the two eyes with their large pupils. The pupils are touching the edges, like I told you, and they're well below the halfway line on the face. Now we'll put in the nose and the mouth. Remember, they have to be small and centered between the eyes and not extend outside the edges of the eyes in any way. We'll keep them actually very tiny here. And now we can add some additional features to the head to turn this into a cat. That'll be some little fuzzy things on the cheeks and some ears, and I usually put a little bit of fuzzy hair on the top. So let's start with the fuzzy cheek parts. Then we'll put on some fuzzy hair on the top. More fuzzy is more adorable. Yes, Angie, basically that's right. By keeping the features small and low on the face, it looks younger. Most of what we consider cute is, I think, based on the proportions of babies. So babies tend to have large heads with the features all at the bottom, very large foreheads, and we respond to that as going, "Ah!" That's why we don't kill them when they scream all night. And usually for a cute creature you put small ears, but you can actually bend that. You can make big ears on it. I tend to put kind of medium-sized ears on this sort of a kitten. But they have to be pointy because they're cat ears. I'm also going to add a little uh, fuzziness inside the ears, just because fuzzy is cuter. All right, that's cute enough for the moment. But I would actually probably make the cheeks a little fuzzier, but we'll leave it there for now. And let's do a body on this guy. Now remember the rule, the body has to be very small compared to the head. And you can actually make it almost ridiculously small. We'll make it quite small. It should be smaller than the head, that's for sure. If you make it as big as the head, that's okay, but it won't be as cute as if it's smaller than the head. So for the body, we'll make it simple. We'll use a simple Y shape uh, with, well, I'll show you what I mean, a little Y shape in the front and then some little paws. Okay, so there's our Y shape, and then we'll just put some little paws on this guy. And a little tail sticking out. So that's all we'll do. But you see, by making the body very small, it increases the cuteness factor by quite a bit. Alright, so any questions so far on what I have shown you about about any of this? Any questions at all before I move on? Alright, so I saved that one for later. Now let's do a different creature. Let's do a little teddy bear kind of creature. And we'll make it slightly more complicated than this was, but not very much. Alright, so for a bear we're going to use, again, an oval-ish shape for the head. A nice round, fattish kind of body. We'll keep the limbs straight with no joints. Those are our rules. And we'll give him some nice fuzzy cheeks, I think. And for bears, well, I'll show you what makes it a bear once we get to it. But let's start with the basic layout of the creature. Alright, so that's going to be our basic layout for it. And I'm making the body slightly bigger on this guy, but it's still smaller than the head. So let's put some features on this guy. Some nice big eyes and the little nose and mouth. I've kept the nose and mouth small. I made them a little bit more complicated than the last one with some kind of fuzz on the side and everything, but it's not that much more complicated. And then we'll put some eyes on here. Nice big eyes with big pupils. Maybe we'll have them looking up this time. Notice that again, the pupils touch the side of the eye. They're not floating in the middle in any way. Yeah, I haven't cut them off either. And then we'll put some ears on. Bear ears are very round, so we'll make round ears as opposed to the pointy ones we put on the kitten. And then we'll put some fuzzy hair on the top because fuzzy's always better, always cuter. No, I mean cut them off as far as having the edge of the eye cut them off. I'm not putting any eyelids at all on these guys. We will put cheeks on him here though in a minute. Alright, so let's add a little bit of pudgy cheeks to him. And maybe some little eyebrows just to increase the expression of sadness that he kind of has. He's very he does look a little bit sad. That's part of the cuteness though. Yeah, that's what I mean by cut off. Like you can't see the whole circle of the pupil inside the eye because it's too far off. That's what I meant by cut off. Alright, and notice that we have the nice round body. It's round and pudgy, and the limbs are simple and straight. There's no visible joints. That's the other rules that we had for keeping it cute. So there we have our basic cute bear. And of course you can increase the fuzziness. You can put some fuzzies on his ears or whatever. But we'll stop there for now. Any questions on the bear? Alright, I saved that off so I can upload it later as part of the class stuff as a reminder. So now we'll go on and we'll do another one. This time we're going to do a little fuzzy poodle and demonstrate a little bit of a side body and a fluffy sort of creature rather than hairy fuzzy. He'll be fluffy fuzzy. Alright, so for the poodle, we're going to use again an oval for a head, oval for a body, ovals for the legs, everything's ovals. Ovals for eyes, ovals for ears. It's going to be Mr. Oval Poodle. Maybe that's what we'll name it. Oval the Poodle. All right, now I didn't talk much while I was doing that, uh, and it still needs refining, quite a bit of refining, in order to make it a decent cartoon, but it follows all the rules. It has the large head, the small body, the large pupils in the eyes, the small mouth and nose in between the eyes, and the result is pretty cute. I think that I actually need to move the body around a little bit. It's not quite underneath enough. But you get the idea, I hope. Any questions on that basic idea? So by I was just showing you there, you can copy your entire layer down to the previous layer, erase parts of it, and move stuff around. That's one of the nice things about working digitally. You can mess around with your underlying drawing before you decide you're going to finalize it. So I moved the body around a little bit there. Alright, so we'll do one more creature. We'll do a bunny. We'll do a nice floppy-eared bunny. We'll try to spend a little bit more time on the underlying drawing of this one with a view to creating a finished drawing out of it when we're done. So if there aren't any questions, I'll move on to doing a bunny. Any questions? Now you can see that, you know, my underlying drawings are pretty rough. It's actually kind of hard to draw on the screen compared with pencil, but you get used to it. And since you have infinite layers and all this time that you can spend refining it, it all works out. So don't worry if your initial drawing looks a little bit rough-shod. It's okay. Alright, so now we're going to do the bunny. Again, we're going to follow the basic same rules. I'm not going to use quite as round a head. We'll give the head a little bit more shape this time with some cheeks and a forehead and what have you, but we'll not make it too much. And so there we have the shape of our bunny's head. It's got a fat forehead and very wide mouth area with some nice big cheeks on it. Now, the basic difference between a bunny mouth and the mouth we've done so far is that for a bunny, we're going to put in a couple of big old teeth sticking out. We make them different size because that's funnier, cuter. Then we'll we'll give him some nice fuzzy hair on the top before we put in the ears. And since this is going to be a flop-eared bunny, we have to give him big old floppy ears. Then again, we'll keep the limbs very simple, no joints. Kind of ran out of space for the ears. Okay, so now let's take this one to the next step. Like if we decide that we like this cute little guy and we wanted to make him a little bit more finished looking, what would we do? Alright, so we decide that we like our cute little bunny here, that he's cute enough, and we want to make him into a more finished drawing. We take this pencil drawing and we use it underneath. I'm going to reduce the opacity of the layer to kind of gray it out a little bit, and then we're going to draw over on top of it using the pen instead of a brush. So I'm going to use fountain pen for the thicker lines, and then I'll switch to a thinner one for some of the cross hatching. We'll do all of our shading here using cross hatching. If you don't know what cross hatching is, it's basically straight lines. I'll show you when I get to that. Right now what we want to do is we want to go around the bunny with the fountain pen, drawing on another layer above, and try to make a better, clearer lines. Following the basic lines that we sketched out to start with. Since we have our underlying drawing to follow, it makes it a lot easier to do the smoother pen lines over top. So I've filled in all the pen lines. Now I'm going to get rid of the underlying drawing altogether. I'm actually not going to color it at all. I'm just going to do the black and white part. But you can feel free to do your own pink one. Pink is good. Alright, so now I've switched to a slightly smaller pen, and I'm going to sketch in some of the cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is a way of doing shading using just lines. So I'm going to use just lines for all of the shading on this guy. Yeah, it's pretty much the basic pen. It's just a fairly small pen with a little bit of simplify added to it to make it easier to draw straight lines. I'm doing them pretty fast. I would actually spend a little more time and clean them up a little bit, but I'm not going to do that for the class here. Alright, let me just fill in the eyes. Alright. So there we have the more or less cleaned up version. You can of course continue as much as you want depending on how clean you want it to be. And from here you could go on to color it or do whatever else you want with it. So I think that's probably the end of the class here. We've been going in for an hour and a half. Any questions on any of this stuff? Any of the rules, any of the techniques, any of the tools that I've used? Now's the time to ask you questions. I don't know, coloring and shading advice. I don't know. Practice, just, just practice. Try doing very simple oval-shaped heads, oval-shaped eyes, simple nose and mouth, and just try to keep them inside the rule so that the result is cute. I will post all of the rules and all of the drawings that we did during the class here along with the video when I'm done. I have recorded this whole thing, so there will be a video once I have time to process it. Yeah, maybe I'll actually do another class on color, doing coloring for these guys. You can actually look back at my last class where I did show how to do cell kind of coloring, flat coloring for cartoons. That might be helpful. Here's a review. The cute kitten that we did. There's the cute bear. You can make him a panda just by coloring him black and white if you wanted to. The somewhat insane poodle. But all poodles are somewhat insane. And then there's our bunny, our flop-eared bunny. Alright, so thank you all for joining me. It's been fun, much fun. I will post all of this stuff and get the video ready so that you can go back through it and get all the rules and everything. And I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun teaching it. You want it singing? Bunnies, bunnies, lots of fuzzy bunnies, funny buzzies in my bed. Oh yeah.